Okay, let's see how this goes. Sorry about what happened earlier. My computer crashed as I was trying to do the stream because my computer is acting very strangely today, and I have absolutely no idea why. So if this stream all of a sudden cuts out, then that's just that's why my computer is not so today. Um, Shared the link with the team, and now folks can watch, and that's great. And I am now going to resume trying to work on the WordPress Design Guidelines site development. Here we go. How do I minimize this guy? Does that work? Okay, bear with me for a second. It might go a little bit inception-y. There we go. All right. Cool. So I'm working on developing this site right now. It has all the colors that we can see on screen. That's great. We can click to copy it to your clipboard, which is great. So what I would want to do now is actually build the UI around the website, meaning the top bar and also the left-hand bar, similar to this thing. Oops, where is it? Make.wordpress.com, blah, blah, blah. So we need to build this top bar and this left-hand bar for navigation purposes here. And before I even do that, so as I started to do this, I created a little component here, page layout, where I'm gonna write the code for the layout. Before I do that, I need to be able to systematically use the colors that are presented here. So what's happening here is I have a JSON file where the colors live like this. So this is just something I hard coded up based on the code pen that's available from the make.wordpress.org website. And yeah, I just did a lot of copy and pasting to create something like this. Typically, what you would do is you would have your color hex values with the name and whatever in some other JSON file or YAML or whatever it is you prefer. And that would then generate something like this. But that involves an extra step, and I figured, oh, why do I do that? Just keep it simple. I just have this. This is my master file where all of my color data, titles, and everything lives. And based on this, there's fancy JavaScript logic here that knows how to transform data, pluck things, do things, blah, 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 to generate the data I need to render this UI. Cool. That renders the UI, but how do I actually use the colors in the code? For example, if I wanted to create a top bar with dark gray 900, how do I do that? I guess I could copy the hex values, but then that defeats the purpose of having all these wonderful colors with names and everything. So what do I need to do? There are several things that you can do that's kind of design system-y. So let's say I have my page layout here. I can create a styled component like styled, I don't know, styled layout, something like this, which is this div. And if I want to make it a background of something, so right now I am using standard out-of-the-box styled components, and this is how you kind of write your styled components. So if I wanted to create a background, say of red, you can do something like that. Or if I wanted to have something like gray 900, you can copy this hex code and do something like this. Ideally, you don't want to use hex codes directly hard-coded into your JavaScript or CSS or anything like that. You want to reference variables of some kind. So let me just check do I have my live chat open? How do I restore live chat? What does that even mean? Pop out. Sure, cool. Pop out live chat. All right. Design systems. Gotta let the team know I'm trying again. That was a failure. I did not let anyone know that I was live streaming. That sucks. That's fine. All right, so what do I need to do? Yes, I need to render the colors or make the colors that live inside of the JSON file available to use inside of my styled components or whatever. So here are some considerations I need to have. I use Sublime Text to write down notes just because it's simple, it's fast, and it does what it needs to do. So right now the site is built using React.js. which is actually powered by a static site generator called Gatsby. That's the thing that knows how to do the building, the compiling, the live reloading, all that kind of stuff. But underneath the hood, not underneath the hood, the UI layer that renders all of these pages is React. Cool. So I need some sort of variable solution for colors that works with React.js. And React.js is using styled components to render the components in the CSS and everything else. The other thing that Gatsby provides is the ability to render normal CSS. So right here I have a file called global.css. This is just my global kind of reset kind of thing that's going on right now. There's hard-coded link values. That's fine. I will take care of that. So yeah, I can render regular CSS and also styled components. This is CSS and JS solution, and then this is regular CSS. Cool. So I need some sort of variable solution that works for both of these cases. In the past, typically, if you have a Sass kind of setup, this is Sass, which compiles with Node Sass typically. Underneath the hood, which typically if you have a project, you use Webpack to compile Node Sass, and Node Sass maybe uses libsass or something underneath the hood. Lots of technologies going on, libsass. So with this, you're able to use CSS Sass variables that look like this. So like, I don't know, dark gray 900 is some sort of hex value. That's not a correct hex value. There's no help. There you go. So something like that. Because we have this set up right now, not this, we can't use this. We could use, if we're in the realm of CSS and JS, typically what people do is they write JavaScript-based functions or mixins that let you, since they're JavaScript functions, they can just return strings for you. So what you can do is, let's pretend I had a function or a mixin or utility called getColor from /utils, sure. So what you can do is you can do something like this. GetColor is, I want to get dark gray. Nope, I just mixed those two words together. Dark gray 900. Dark gray, how do I spell it? 900. So you can do something like this, which is very handy. This is one way, a pure JavaScript way of getting all of your colors, or making sure all of your colors are never hard-coded. It has stuff running underneath the hood in order to pluck the values from your color meta.json right here. However, if you do go with that kind of solution, which uses some sort of JS util, then that cuts off the ability for regular CSS to be able to leverage those variables. And for this website, since we're using React.js and styled components, the chances of using regular CSS variables isn't very high, just because everything is being powered by these styled components. However, I still want to provide support for regular CSS usage. The reason is, if I only target this side of things, it cuts off anyone who isn't familiar with styled components or CSS-driven JavaScript-driven CSS with mixins and functions and stuff like that. I want to make this accessible for folks who are more comfortable with regular CSS. And the only way for you to do this is to somehow create CSS variables, which is available for all of the modern browsers, which would look something like this. So you would add it to the root. What do we call this? Dark gray 900 is some sort of hex value. Copy to clipboard. Yay, that works. So I need to basically generate all this kind of stuff from my thing here. I could just hard code it, but that's a little nuts for me just because of how much work that would be involved. I would prefer spending, I don't know, whatever time writing some magical JavaScript functions that generates this thing for me. So that's what I'm going to be doing. That's just my little intro to describe exactly what I'm going to be doing. How do I do live chat things? Oh, hello. How does this work? Pop out live chat. Great. Now I want to minimize it. Great. So therefore, I should be able to see this anytime. Cool. So JavaScript function to generate a series of these based on this. So since I'm using styled components, they do provide some sort of global renderer or something. This is typical for styled components, emotion, or anything like that. I just need something to render to the global. How do I do that? I have absolutely no idea. I mean, I know how to do it. I've done it before. I just don't know off the top of my head. Create global style. Cool. Create global. This is how you do development. You forget how to do everything, and then just Google for the API, and everything will be fine. Great global style, great blah, blah, blah. Now I need to add that somewhere. I need to add that. Right now I am working with the, here. So inside of Gatsby, it knows how to understand MDX files. MDX files are just an enhanced version of Markdown that allows me to render React components, which is handy. So for this, I'm just writing regular Markdown. But I am using the component of page layout from this particular React component, which is cool because now I can make it do anything I want. Templates, colors. So if I just write in here, hello, then my page should say hello. There it does. Yes, it says hello. Great. So now I need to inject some global styles just for testing purposes, just to see how I can get this working. Where is it? There we go. Yes, everything's complaining because I'm a terrible person. Cool. Global style looks vaguely something like this. All right, fine. Create global style. It does something. I'm just going to make it red. Red is my go-to kind of debugging thing. I don't know why, it just is. So in theory, if I add global styles like this, the page should now be red. Oh no. The text should now be red, which it is. Cool. So this works. It's screaming at me. I'd rather have the color. Okay, cool. So global styles works. My idea is to create a JS function that generates CSS variables that can be injected into global styles and made available everywhere. Therefore, the CSS color variable is accessible for CSS in JS or regular CSS. Cool, that's my goal. I'm going to turn on Do Not Disturb. Cool. How's a live chat? We have no one talking. Perfectly fine with me. What did I just do? I closed it. Oh no. This is a disaster. All right, there it is. All right, cool. So now I need to create some sort of JS function that'll know how to return stuff. So I am going to, inside here, I already started something like this. Generate CSS color variables. So I am just going to do this real fast. If I did test color is red, let's pretend that's what I'm doing. Import generate from /utils. So what I've done already is inside of my utils file, I've already exported all of my utils from color and from hooks and so on. So I'm able to pluck this from utils. Therefore, if I put this inside of here, like so, it should just work. No, it doesn't. I need to put it inside a root. Once I do that, therefore why is this spacing all weird? Okay, cool. So now that that works, I think I am now able to reference the variable that I collected from test color. All right. Test color. I'm gonna close all these tabs. I can't even when there's lots of tabs open. So if I do this, in theory, nothing will change. No, I'm going to make this blue. That way I can see. Great. So that works. Cool. So what did I just do there? I used JavaScript to output a string that generates a CSS variable that I'm able to add to the global CSS space, that I'm able to leverage CSS variables wherever it is I need, inside of CSS or CSS and JS. Cool. Now I need to do the hard part, which is somehow loop through all colors to generate CSS variables. String. Good luck, have fun. All right. So right now I've console logged blue and gray, which come from the colors metadata here that I've done some sort of transformations on them already. So inside of, I don't know, let's check out gray. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger, I apologize. So gray, we have two sets. We have the gray set, we have the light gray set. And inside the gray set, we have all these guys, dark gray, blah, blah. Okay, well, let me just try to loop over gray first. So I have gray, and I want to see what gray is. Just a heads up. I know some developers, they really like using debugger for things. What the heck? I don't know what that is. Oh, right. So I think this is just Gatsby complaining about how this thing works, because I didn't have that error before. So in theory, if I remove this, it'll be fine. Nope, it's still not fine. I have no idea, but it should be it should be fine. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of all this. Where is it? Layout, don't need that, don't need that. What am I doing? Yes. So I just want to focus on gray. Gray has two colors. So if I do a gray dot, what do I want to do? CSS variable string is this, reduce. If I reduce over it, we have a collection of things. Yeah, I don't know. Compiled. I'm just going to call it compiled. And then we have our color. And no, I'm just going to keep it that. It's going to be an array for now. I really like the reduce function. I'm just going to console log color for now. Oh yes, I console log everything when I do development. It's just easier for me. Gray dot colors. Reduce. Now I should see two. Why is it? There we go. Dark gray and light gray. So between these two, I also need to do another reduction to transform all of this, 900 to 100, into a string somehow. So I guess instead of color, this would be like a color set, maybe? Because the color set also has colors. So console log colors set.colors. Right, these are my dark grays, these are my light grays. So I need to somehow loop through all these guys. Okay, make a new function. I like making lots of little functions. It's just easier to wrap my head around. Generate CSS color variables from set. Color set. So here I have a color set from, so I can pluck out colors from the color set. Color set, I'm just going to console log it, colors. So if I run this function over here, like this, color set, literally nothing will change, exactly the same. Great. But now I can focus on squashing everything together within this tiny little function right here. I'm going to hide the sidebar for now, hide this. Focus just on this guy. What's happening? All right. What's happening in the chat? Nothing. All right. Hopefully the live stream is still going okay. What the heck? Where did my windows go? Uh-oh. I think it's still going okay. Okay. It's so hard for me to tell. I just have my laptop here. I don't have separate monitors to check out all this kind of stuff. Anyway, colors. So right now I am logging the colors. I need to reduce through the colors. So I don't know. Thing. I will rename this later. Rename this later. Equals colors dot reduce. And I have, again, a collection. Usually, I mean, you would call this something more appropriate. A collection is vague. It's just the same as if I said accumulator, which is the correct term for it, I suppose. But for now, you call it collection and just, I don't know, an array to start off with. So now if I did a console log of color, singular, I will now see giant splat of all the various colors. Cool. So now I have the hex value, which is what I need, but I also need to figure out how to name these things. So every single one of them has a name. I hope every single one of them has a name. I don't know if the name is unique though, meta, just because down here, these names are like shade 30 or shade 10 or something like that. For now, I am just going to be focusing on the main colors, WordPress blue, medium blue, the dark grays, and the light grays. I'm going to not focus on this for now. We can add this later when the time comes, but for just to create the UI that the website needs, we need these colors. So I'm just going to focus on that for now. Dark gray 90. There is something kebab case. Yeah. So I need to transform this dark gray 90 into some sort of string. And I can make a decision here. So it could be something like color dark gray 900. Sorry, I keep saying 90. I mean 900. So I can do something like that. Or color dark gray 900. Or just dark gray 900. So personally, I prefer colors to have the word color in front of them as a prefix. That way I know that I'm working with a color. It's a little bit more verbose, but it's 100% clearer. So there's that. The other thing is, do I do camel case or kebab case? And personally, I prefer camel case, like this, just because I'm trying to take care of the majority use case, which is more of the JavaScript CSS-y kind of side. And I found this is a very subtle thing. Way back when, I used to hate any kind of CSS variables or Sass variables that looked like this because, well, in CSS, you always make things look kebab case because reasons. But I found that jumping between CSS and JavaScript, which you would do a lot when you're doing front-end development, especially if you're doing React stuff, this tiny detail forces you to do some level of context switching, which slows you down. At least that's what I found for me. But by changing it to something like this, something more JavaScript-y, it eliminated that need to context switch for variable names. Because when you write variables within JavaScript, you would do something like this, color, dark, gray, 900. You would camel case it. So this felt a little bit more streamlined as far as JavaScript naming goes, which is why I would prefer something like this. And I believe, hopefully, Lodash has a camel case util. If not, that would be bad. Not bad, but that would be unfortunate, and then I had to write my own. Cool. Camel case. Camel case. Great. So now I want to see what that looks like. If I were to camel case the color name. So if I do this, I can pluck out the name from color and then pluck. I use the word pluck, it means destructure, kind of same kind of idea. My hope is that it'll look like this, dark gray 900. That's my hope. Yep, so all those have been transformed, great. Now I want to prefix it with something. I want to do color hyphen. Before that, we're going to do dash dash just because we're creating CSS variables. And now they will look like CSS variables. Yes, they do. Interesting. So if I did that, that's wrong because the D needs to be capitalized, the L needs to be capitalized. Therefore, I have to combine these two together. Camel case name as. This is where I cheat. When I can't think of a name for something, I just call it name prop. So now I have a name, which is a combination of the word color and hyphen name prop. Now, if I camel case that, it should give me the proper thing. Nope, it does. It totally does not. Why? Oh no, that's why. Okay, yeah. So this is correct now. So what happens? Well, now I can just return this. Const CSS variable is that, and then I can return the collection with the CSS variable in it. And now, if I console log, rename this. Oh yeah, rename this later. If I console log that, I will get an array of all the variables here. Cool. But I don't need the variable, just a variable name. I need the variable plus the value. So I can do this. There we go. So now I have something that looks like this. Currently, these aren't valid CSS. They're all individually, they're valid CSS variables, but not as a whole. So what can I do? Well, since it's an array, I'm going to call this something different. CSS variable collection. So now it's an array. What can I do? I can join all of them with that. Why not? Cool. Now it looks like this, which is a little bit more CSS variable-y. And I'm just going to add a new line in there. Why not? Just to make it a little bit more readable. Oh, look at that. CSS variables. Except the last one doesn't have one. Well, or I can just cheat and do that. Which I am. Why not? Cool. There's CSS variables now. It's just a single string with all these guys there. So now that these are individual guys, I can just return them like this. Return that. Okay. Const CSS variables is this. Console log CSS variables. Right, same thing. Now I can mash them together. Same kind of idea, I suppose. Return a collection // with CSS variables, and then I can join them with a new line. Wow. Console log CSS variable string. Whee! So those are my CSS variables for dark gray and gray. And I need to do that for my blues. So right now I just have this going for gray. So what I need to do is I need to actually make this its own little function So what is it? Generate CSS color variables from set. I don't know what to call this yet. Generate CSS variable color variable string. I don't know. What is this? Oh, it's a color. No, what is it? Yeah, it's a color. It's a, what are these? I guess they're colors. They're collections of colors. It's a color collection. Yeah, this is where naming gets really important. Um, so I am able to do this. Whoop, whoop. All right, so here's a little just in case colors. So if colors, then just return an empty string. It's a little safety thing. So if you wrote something, if you wrote TypeScript, you would catch things like this, but because I'm not writing TypeScript, I'm just writing little safeties just in case. Safety, I call them safeties. They're the guards or if statements or kill switches or whatever it is you want to call them. Console log CSS variable string. Alrighty, so now I can just do this. If I pass in gray, I will get the same thing. So in theory, if I pass in blue, I should also get the same thing. If not, then I need to make some adjustments. Yep, color WordPress blue, color medium blue, great. So now if I did blue and gray, I will see both. Yep, cool. So I need to now const variables, CSS color variables is an array that contains blue and contains gray. Console, now I can join them with that const CSS variable. Now I just put this here. Color variables. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Alrighty, I don't need to console log things anymore. Return, that goes there. Cool. So in theory, if this works, I am going to make the body, I forget what this is called, color WordPress medium blue. Yay, it works. I have CSS variable things. They should be injected somewhere vaguely here, hopefully. Oh my God. There we go. Here they are. WordPress blue, blah, 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 all generated auto-magically from the meta JSON thing. It's available as color variables for regular CSS. So here I have a custom CSS file. So if I just added, say, dot body, boo boo boo, background. I really love WordPress blue, so I'm gonna do this. WordPress blue. Is this not being added? What the heck? Why? Red. Important. Oh yeah, something's happening there. Oh right. Bar. I forgot the bar. Cool. So that is working for regular CSS, which is great. Let's see if it's working for CSS and JS. What do I wanna change? I don't know. Colors. Yeah, why not? All right, I'm already here. Style page, right. Background is bar, hyphen, color, WordPress blue. Yay! So we're done. Ship it. We're done making the website. Well, we're not, but I don't even need to do this. I can just return this. Oops. So that is cool. That's cool. I need to write some comments explaining uh, the arguments and also the return types. That's fine. Should be relatively simple. But the cool thing is we were able to build a JavaScript-based generator for all of these color names from the meta.json, the master file where all the colors live, and we're able to create something that CSS can use, CSS and JS can use, that's accessible for React developers and folks who are more familiar with just regular old CSS, which is perfectly fine. And that's the thing. You have to be aware of the people who are contributing, who are working on this thing and potentially contributing to this thing, making it as easy as possible for them to do things. Yep, so that's working just fine. Now that I have the ability to, so now that I have the ability to use colors in a way that aren't just hard coding hex values, I can now finally work on building the page. Thank goodness. I should commit this. Global styles, global styles. I am going to create a component actually to make it a little bit more reusable. Global styles.js. So where is it? Copy things. Okay, global style is that. Global styles is generate global styles, root body, don't need this anymore. Okay, and then I can do export default global styles. This should be a component, I believe. Yes, global style. Global style. I prefer the S. Okay. So now I can export it here. Global styles from global styles. And inside my colors, I can do global styles. I don't need this anymore. I don't need this anymore. Just rename it to this. I don't need this anymore. And this should be fine. It should work. So if I did here HTML, usually when you create CSS variables, it binds it to the root, and the root is the HTML. So if you do inspect element, you should be able to see all of your color variables here, or just variables in general here. So I see that, which is cool. But I don't see it on the main page here. That's just because this particular global styles component isn't being rendered for the default template. So I need to figure out how to do that. Pages, index is using layout. Okay, layout. I am going to pluck out global styles from here. No? Yay, great. So global styles are now available everywhere, not just a color page. Any new page I create, you have access to these CSS variables, both in JS and CSS, and now I can finally build some pages. But before I do, I want to commit my changes. Let's see, make this a little bit bigger. What on earth did I do? I did things. I just want to write that in my commit message. I did things. Yeah, this is fine, this is fine. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I should really write some comments inside of here. That's fine. All right, all right, all right, right. So this outputs a string. Returns, it's a string. I always forget how to do this. Thank goodness for previous examples. Return, singular. Generated CSS color variables. Generates CSS color variables from the initial color data set. Okay. This one, it accepts a param. It is it's an object. This is the it's a color collection. Color collection. Uh, data containing a collection of colors. I don't know, man. This is really hard. This is actually the hardest part for me. Trying to write little descriptions for like trying to write descriptions for function names that kind of describe themselves. Um, Returned string. Generated CSS color variables. Yeah. From a color, I don't know, a color collection. All right. Done. Moving on. Not going to spend too much time doing this. All right. Oh, man. All right. From a color set. Let's change that to color set. Data containing collection of that's fine. It's basically the same idea. Someone's gonna hate me later for this, but that's fine. That's fine. Cool. So now I have the things there. I really like using for my Git. I really like using git add -p, but I have it alias to just G for my Git AP. What this does is that it walks you through file by file, line by line, the changes that you've made. And this allows me to basically say yes, nope to the things that I've changed to add to my commit. So yes, I want this. This looks good to me. Yes. 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 Camel case. Yeah. You can even break this up, but if you press S, it splits it, usually, I think. It's not doing it now. Probably I forgot how to do this, but this looks good. All right, so now we have a couple of new files. Page layout. What does that do? This is my working thing that I'm going to be working on. Global styles. That is the new component, so I'm going to do that. Ooh, so the thing you saw right there, lint staged. It's basically a thing that automatically fixes my files before I commit it. This is really nice. It just streamlines the dev experience for if you were to be working on this website. What did I do? I did color, add CSS color variable generator utils. Add global global styles component to render generated CSS color variable styles to the root. This allows for CSS color variable color variable usage for both standard CSS and styled components. So right now, everything I'm doing, I'm just committing it to master, which is fine. And with the current setup, WordPress Design Guides, cool. Yes, I do know about that one. I haven't used it. I don't know why, but I'm just holding out on that. Thanks, Aaron. Cool. So I'm gonna log into my Netlify. Here's a really cool thing. Every single time I make a commit, at least for master, or my PRs, it rebuilds everything for me. So right now, because I committed this change, I pushed this guy up, it triggered a rebuild of the site. That's what it's doing right now. And once it's done, it should update this site. And we'll see. So right now, hopefully it hasn't updated yet. Right, so I don't see my CSS variables here yet. I will see it as soon as site is live. Site is live. All right, so if I do a refresh, There we go. Yay! It does it automatically. I didn't need to do anything. That is the power of Netlify. Oh my goodness, Netlify is one of my favorite web apps right now. It just makes this development stuff so much easier. Um, and it does the same for like PRs. So here I created a PR where I changed WordPress blue to have a value of black. I did this all on GitHub. I didn't even open up a code editor. And as soon as I did that, it created a deploy preview for me. So you can now see WordPress blue is black. And it did that all on its own, automated. It's really nice. And that makes it, that was one of the things I felt like was really important. It just makes it so much easier to kind of play around with, contribute to, especially if if you don't have a lot of time, if you're not at a computer, or if you're just not, if you can't be bothered with terminal things, which I am sometimes, it just makes it so much nicer, so much easier. Speaking of which, there is a Netlify CLI that I need to build into this. And what that does is that it allows me to do deploys locally, which I'm able to force deploy from my computer, which is handy sometimes if I just want to create like a dev preview on the fly, or I just want to push something up. So I'm just going to add that right now. Netlify CLI. How do I do that? You do things. Netlify, all right, so yarn add Netlify CLI. Cool. And I think I have it installed globally as well, which is handy. Whoop, don't need to touch that. All right. Package JSON, Netlify, deploy. Deploy is a good word. Netlify does something. I don't know yet. Netlify. Nope. npm install g netlify CLI. Cool. That's going to do its thing. And I know when you run the command, it does some sort of initial setup something. I can't remember what it does, but it does something. And I need that before I can run my deploy script. So they have deploy production, and they have a staging deploy. So I can do staging is my default deploy. npm run deploy staging. Alrighty, Netlify. I'm able to do things. Cool. Link. That was it. Netlify link. Yes. Yeah, it does, it does something. Yeah, it adds a Netlify file with your information right here. Cool. So now I have deploy. Yep. So in theory, if I run npm run or yarn run deploy, it will run Netlify. Netlify deploy production. I believe that's how you do it. And then just deploy. Right. So now if I run yarn run deploy, it will run the staging deploy, which will create an automated preview for me right here, which it does. Cool. But right now there's nothing in it because I didn't tell it to build before deploy. Yeah, but that's working, which is kind of cool. Nothing's there. Alrighty, so the Netlify thing is working great. Before deploys, I need to do npm run build and that. Cool. So let's give it a try again. Prod. Oh, wrong one. Prod. Okay. I'm gonna create a little alias. npm run deploy production. There's a little alias. Yeah. So alias deploy. I'm gonna try it again. So what I should do is now it should do a build. Scripts are great. I love automating these things. It just makes things so much easier. And internally, it also makes me feel like a computer hacker, which I'm totally not. But seeing things run in the terminal like this just gives me a very satisfying feeling, especially if there's numbers and like animated little dots and stuff like that involved. Cool. So now I have a dedicated deploy preview. I can send this link to anybody. Colors and everything should work, and I should see my CSS variables right here. Yay! So now, when someone npms install or yarn installs or whatever it is the project, or sorry, git clones the project onto their computer, they can actually run a deploy just by running this script, which is kind of cool. Alrighty, so what did I do? Yes. What? Local Netlify folder. Do I want to ignore that? Maybe not. What happens if I commit it? I don't know. I'll just leave it ignored for now. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, what? Git ignore dot netlify. Why? Why? I'll just leave it for now. Add deploy scripts. Push. This actually doesn't change anything on Netlify's end. They still do the automatic deploys for me. I just added this so that I can manually do deploys, which is handy sometimes. Whoops, I closed the tab. Alrighty. So in this adventure, we did a couple of things. We were able to generate CSS color variables from JSON using JavaScript to generate CSS color variables that's available for both standard CSS usage and CSS and JS from the master CSS JSON, from the master color JSON file. This was done with JavaScript utilities, reducing things, mapping things, doing whatever, spitting out a gigantic string that will then be rendered into the global namespace, the global website via the global style, create global styled component from styled components, which is really handy. In this exercise in going through your data, mashing things into like arrays and strings and all that kind of stuff, that's actually how a lot of CSS compilers work underneath the hood. So if you take a look at styled components, which uses stylus, not stylus. Is it stylus? No, this is not it. Give me a second. Should be this guy. Yeah. So this is the thing that powers styled components and also emotion underneath the hood. I think it still does. I haven't checked the latest and greatest Emotion 10 or styled components, but this is basically a very, very lightweight compiler that at a high level did what I just showed you. Takes in some data, figures things out, creates a string that combines everything together and goes, here you go, here's your compiled CSS. And other things like post CSS, which is that you would add this into your build step, your compiler, your webpack, your whatever it is. It does something similar as well when it needs to write your data into a .css file. So yeah, we learned a little bit about CSS compiling today in a high-level sense based on the JSON file. We're able to create these wonderful global CSS variables, and we did a little bit of Netlify exploring. Hopefully this was just as fun for you as it was for me, and I'm very, very glad that my computer did not crash this time around, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Catch you later. Bye. Oh my goodness!